Hey all, so today Kylie, Alana, Jonathan, and I, Stephen, are going to be talking to you about abortion, specifically the left wing's approach of pro-choice, and that every woman should have the right to choose what she wants to do with her body and her pregnancy. So I'm going to start off by talking about how abortion is not immoral. So there are these 7 characteristics of every living thing that scientists have been using since we've defined living things, and those things do not apply to fetuses. Fetuses are not living things. The mother is a living person, and her body is undergoing a process, and it's unreasonable that she should have to do what the state tells her as it applies to something in her body that's not an actual living thing. So the opposing side claims that they're innocent, but again, they're not life forms, and we're totally okay with all these different ways of eradicating other human life and other human lives not being important, yet the sanctity of life applies to fetuses, and it just doesn't make that much sense. And then the last thing is that our country is founded on the right to do whatever you want as far as your religion goes, right? That's why they left England, is because they were being forced into certain religions. And again, people use the idea that, it's life at conception. That's what God says, that's what the Bible says, what priests say. But using the church and people's own personal beliefs, putting it into the state, is unreasonable and should not be allowed. So I'm going to pass it off to Kylie so that she can talk to you a little bit.
Okay, so what if you got raped? I know this is a very sensitive and kind of uncomfortable topic to talk about, but it definitely needs to be addressed when we're talking about abortion. What if you got raped, and then on top of that, you got impregnated by the person that sexually assaulted you? This is where abortion becomes a completely plausible option. So on average, there are 288,820 victims of rape or sexual assault each year in the United States. Women aged 12 to 34 years old are at the highest risk for rape and sexual assault. And females aged 16 to 19 years old are 4 times more likely than the general population to be sexually assaulted. 16 to 19-year-olds are women that are in high school, women that are not ready to take on a child. Think back to when you were 16 years old. What if this horrible event occurred to you? Wouldn't you want to have the option to even consider to get an abortion? During this time of your life, you are learning how to become an adult, experience new things, and grow as a person. You are not prepared to parent a child when you can barely even take care of yourself. This is where having a choice needs to be an option. So out of those 288,820 victims every year that are sexually assaulted, only 14,000 actually have an abortion. Those 14,000 women are the ones that are too young, too old, or too sick to have a baby and choose abortion because it is the right option for them. We as a group are not trying to tell you guys that everyone needs to get an abortion. What we are trying to say is that there needs to be an option. You can see by this statistic, that is just a small amount that people actually use abortion, but for those people, even that small amount, that was an option for them, and they thought it was right for their lifestyle. So in some scenarios, abortion can save the life of the mother. For example, if the woman has breast cancer, this requires chemotherapy to survive in most cases. This treatment would kill the unborn child, so abortion is practically the only option. Another example of this would be if the woman suffers from life-threatening seizures. Sometimes these seizures can only be controlled by a certain medication. This medication oftentimes will either kill or severely deform the unborn child. In both of these cases, abortion needs to be an option that the women can consider when they are pregnant.
brings us to my body, my choice. Every woman should have able to decide whether she would like to keep the child, abort the fetus, or give up for adoption. Those are the three options she has. These are the choices she has to make when facing pregnancy. Life-changing. Pregnancy is a life-changing experience for every woman, and everyone's experience is very different. There's no wrong or right choice. Just the fact that she has a choice should be the option. So I know it takes a man to create a baby, but they're not the ones going through the pregnancy themselves. They are not the ones going to the hospital getting the epidural and having a baby come out of them. Like, they just did the easy part. And as a woman, you need to decide whether it's safe for you, the child, and everybody in the situation. And I know it sucks that the father doesn't have a say, but the father isn't going through the experience. As the government cannot go tell you what to do either. In this certain situation, they shouldn't be able to. The woman should decide it's her body, her choice. So I'm going to show you a video.
Most sex and life are a conversation. Most sex and life aren't simple, and that includes abortion. It's personal. It can be complicated. And for many people, it's not a black and white issue.
Okay.
So why do people try to label it like it is? Pro-choice? Most things in life aren't simple, and that includes abortion. It's personal. It can be complicated. And for many people, it's not a black and white issue. So why do people try to label it like it is? Pro-choice? Pro-life? The truth is, these labels limit the conversation and simply don't reflect how people actually feel about abortion. The majority of Americans believe abortion should remain safe and legal. Many just don't use the words pro-choice. They don't necessarily identify as pro-life either. Truth is, they just don't want to be labeled. What they want is for a woman to have access to safe and legal abortion if and when she needs it. But when it comes to abortion, who decides? A congressman? Or governor? Or president? Women don't turn to politicians for advice about mammograms, prenatal care, or cancer treatments, and they shouldn't. Politicians don't belong in a woman's personal medical decisions about her pregnancy. When it comes down to it, we just don't know a woman's specific situation. We're not in her shoes. Ultimately, decisions about whether to choose adoption, end a pregnancy, or raise a child must be left to a woman, her family, and her faith, with the counsel of her doctor or healthcare provider. So the next time you talk about abortion, don't let the labels box you in. Have a different conversation. A conversation that doesn't divide you, but is based on mutual respect and empathy. To learn more, go to notinhershoes.org.
So then they talked about adoption. So is adoption really an option? Because so there's over 400,000 children in the foster care system. And so in 2014, I guess is the last time they did these statistics. And so when they all, so at the end, they aged out, 22,000 kids aged out. But during this time, I only got these two numbers, but there are other numbers. Half of that number, the 200,000 kids, left foster care. They just somehow got out, left, didn't get to the aging process. So half kids just found a home somewhere. Usually they don't make it to the aging out process because either they leave, they get adopted by a family member that they know, and that's kind of it, honestly, for people looking to adopt. But the options are not very well. The kid doesn't get a say whether they can be in the system or not, they just are. And that's not fair to the kid, in my opinion. And not knowing where you came from and not knowing any background about yourself, you just kind of put into the system and kind of put to live. I really don't feel like that's an option for a child. I wouldn't do that to a kid that I know that was mine. But sorry. And then if you're a woman in the foster care, I noticed you're more likely to get pregnant at the age of 21. So therefore you're you don't have no family, no money, and then you're getting pregnant yourself. So what would be a really good option for you? Would you think you put your kid back into the foster care where you just did, or would you probably want to get an adoption to know that your kid isn't going to go through the same struggles you did? And a lot of them won't graduate or get a degree, so not really contributing that much to society. They'll be employed by the age of 24, so 18 to 24, what are they doing? They don't have a home, they can't really do anything. 1 in 5 will become homeless after 18. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but most homeless people actually were from the foster care system. I personally know one of my best friends, his father is homeless, and he didn't have a family helping him out, and it's just, I just hate when people get really upset with homeless people, because it could have been someone's child and they just wouldn't have put into the care, and then when they were 18 they were pushed out and be like, hey, there's life, there you go, just go out and live the world and hopefully don't do drugs and try to get money somehow. And I just feel like adoption is not an option for a lot of people, because putting someone in that system that they have no recollection of where they're from or what they're doing or no help whatsoever, it's already hard, and we've had a lot of help, and we're going to college trying to figure out everything. We have parents that probably love most of us, and I can't fathom not having an adult figure of some form to help me to figure out what I need to do, or how to get on the right path, or how to get a job, or how to get a house or car, or payments, and do everything. And I just feel that a lot of our homeless people were children in the foster care system. And that's not a choice that we should do for our children. I'm going to pass it on to Jonathan.
Okay. One of the arguments given by people who are against abortion is that it is not safe for the woman, or the mother, I should say. This is only true for those methods that are used when it is made illegal. However, when it is legal, abortion can be quite safe because the procedures with the most effectiveness are permitted. Here's some historical background. Before 1973, when the United States Supreme Court legalized abortion in all the states, in the well-known Roe versus Wade case, women who wanted to obtain an abortion had to use dangerous, unsafe means in those states in which abortion was greatly prohibited. Of course, this was only because effective and safe procedures of abortion were not easily available in the aforementioned states. They were available, though, but only for the very limited allowance of these procedures. Now, the dispelling of the myth. Nevertheless, according to an article from the Huffington Post, data from the CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, has shown that risk of death from pregnancy and childbirth is 14 times higher than from abortion. Apparently, some who are against abortion say that it is linked with breast cancer. This has been shown to not be true by many sources. One of them was a panel gathered together by the National Cancer Institute in 2003, concluded that the studies found that, in quotations, induced abortion is not associated with breast cancer. It can be safe to say that illegal abortion can be very much not safe, but legal abortion, when qualified doctors know what they're doing and are permitted to know what they're doing, is safe.
So I know that the topic is very grim and it's not fun to talk about, but it is an important factor of all of our lives. And I just wanted to say we are not pro-abortion, we're pro-choice. Everyone should be able to do what they want. That was the premise at the start, and that's still the premise. And hopefully something in our presentation was able to enlighten you to a different way of thinking or clarification. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.